Check.
Hello there, so this is AD Solo here, and today I am joined with Echo Fox's Scar. We are here in Atlanta the day before the ELEAGUE Last Chance Qualifiers. Where currently 14 spots have been solidified, and tomorrow we will know the final 2. So, Scar, firstly I want to say thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to start where any good story would start, from the beginning. So, before you really pursued professional gaming, what was life like for you, and how did you decide this was the road you were going to take?
Life before professional gaming is just like any other, pretty much any other person working 9 to 5, just trying to maintain. When I graduated high school, I knew what I wanted to do, but what I wanted to do was too expensive. I always had a passion for electronics in general, gaming and stuff like that. But I tried to go to the Art Institute because I felt like that would really be the place to hone what I wanted to do. But it was too expensive. So after that, I don't know. I guess when I went there and talked to the counselor and stuff like that to try to get in, when she told me how much it was gonna cost, it kind of crushed my dreams of doing that. So, after that, I was just, working, maintaining. I had a bullshit 9 to 5 job. I posted, I think, the video on Twitter not too long ago. An old video that I did that I had just made it just in case something popped off in my life. While I was working, it really wasn't. I wasn't happy there.
And what was the job, if you don't mind me asking?
It was just a security job.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a security job that I had, and I worked there for like 2 years, no weekends off, so I really didn't have much of a life outside of traveling when I could. I did go to school, eventually go to school, like a community college, in order to, it was part of this program to get on with a chemical plant.
Okay.
For this certain company, they did a program that helped people who might have not have experience in that field to get experience and to get the education they need to get into that field. So I eventually ended up working at the chemical plant for probably like a year, almost a year, a little over a year. And not too long after that, I had got sick, and then I had got blessed and got on with Echo Fox because of the tremendous work that I had put in with Mortal Kombat X. But yeah, before this, just doing what everybody else do, just working, trying to maintain.
Just a day-to-day 9 to 5 type thing.
Yeah.
So, did you ever really see yourself being in this position?
I never seen myself. I never saw myself getting to this point. Even with all the success that I was getting, that I was having, I didn't see myself being in this position. I didn't even know that something this big was going down. At the time, I was with PG.
Right.
And I was just happy. Yeah, I was just happy being on Panda Global because that was a big thing. It's being an NRS player. You don't really get too many big offers.
Right.
I'm sorry. We don't get too many big offers from big sponsors like Echo Fox. So it was truly a blessing. I mean, I feel like if you're not the Panda Global, if you're not Noble, if you're not Echo Fox, then you pretty much have a hard time being in that space where you can travel as much as you want and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do get a sponsor, then most likely those sponsors are not really legit.
Yeah,
And they're trying to come up off your name, and they're not really well maintained on their end. So I mean, that's why you have most of these companies, they don't really last long because they're putting the money in, but they don't really have any way to make real money back.
Right.
So, they end up falling apart. And I done dealt with companies like that, and I told myself I wouldn't I wouldn't go through that anymore because I pretty much know, you pretty much look at that sponsor, and if you do your homework on them, you pretty much know very quickly if they legit or not. So
you make your choices very carefully.
yeah, that's why I tell a lot of players, man, like don't. I told Samij when he was in between sponsors, like you don't have to jump at whatever sponsors come to you first. You really have to be careful, man, because they can leave you out to dry. And when you young and you hungry, man, and you wanna be the best, you wanna prove yourself, you wanna get your name out there, and as soon as you hear the word sponsor, you ready to jump on that,
right?
Because you never had the opportunity, and I understand because I've been there. But in today's age, man, you really gotta take your time and think things through, because you'll get put in a bad situation if you're not careful. So.
For sure. Yeah, you definitely got to do your own research, figure out what that organization is about, how legit they are. So yeah. I get that. You talked about the success that you had in MKX. So wanted to talk about that a little bit, because that was really where things started to take off for you. I know you were playing in the first Injustice as well and competed a little in that, but really made a name for yourself in MKX. So what exactly was it about that game that just clicked with you so well, you think?
I think I have a deep-rooted love for the game because I grew up with the franchise. Granted that MK9 was my first game that I played on a competitive level, but before that, I had always been around Mortal Kombat. I grew up with it. My cousins played it. I played my cousins in the game, and I watched them play it throughout the years, whether it was Shaolin Monks or Mortal Kombat, what is it, the Sub-Zero mythology or something like that.
Right.
I forgot the full name of it, but it was like an adventure Sub-Zero game, and just the Mortal Kombat franchise in general. I grew up around it, and I told myself when MK9 came out, this looked like a legit, because I didn't really enjoy the 3D fighters. I kind of skipped that part of that part of the game.
3D fighters are like their own thing, so I get that.
I mean, especially NRS 3D fighters is it's like a world of its own.
Right.
But I really didn't gravitate towards it. So when they got back to the 3D/2D type feel, I was like, yeah, this is what I've been waiting on. So it gave me even more incentive to try to take the game seriously and try to, because I didn't know how to do combos or anything like that. I was mainly playing like Call of Duty and adventure games and stuff like that. That was more so what I was interested in. But once MK9 dropped, I forced myself to play it. I looked at YouTube videos, tried to mimic combos and stuff like that. And I didn't know anything about frame data or none of that stuff. I just played through feel, which a lot of cats do.
Right.
We play through feel. We know when to do stuff, when not to do stuff, what we can do here, what we can't do there. If you're doing a certain move and you see you always getting comboed from doing that move, then you know not to do that move.
Right.
But eventually, I just kept playing online, kept watching videos. Eventually, learned about frame data through players in my own state, because I eventually linked up with players through my own state via online through Star Charger. Shout out to Star Charger. He put me down with the Cage Boys, and I got my ass whooped by them. And then pretty much everything else is pretty much history, because eventually we start traveling together. And you fast forward MKX. Even though players from my state didn't really like it that much. Well, more so
like MKX?
More so my Cage Boys. They really wasn't feeling it because of the mix method to it. But
right.
I had my gripes with the game as well. But it's a love-hate relationship. But deep down inside you really love the game. So that's where it was for me. That's why I never stopped playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like since that passion was there, that's why I was able to do so well. And yeah, man, it's just that's the first game that I fell in love with,
Mm-hmm.
and so I guess that's why I will always have an attachment to it. And it's the game that grew up. I grew up with the game. You know what I'm saying? It grew up with me. So it's always I always had that deep rooted connection with it. Versus Injustice is something new that it's still NRS's baby. You know, and they still they got 20+ years on MK and what 5-6 years on Injustice. So.
Right.
I mean, they still learning.
Mm-hmm.
The game still has a lot of time to grow, and yeah, but
for sure,
MK is
it's
MK is life.
Yeah. I mean, I think the play style in MK2 plays a big part in it, and I mean, this is just my observation, but you seem to go for like these aggressive in your face characters. If you look at Sonya, Hat Trick, Kung Lao, Smoke, Scarlet, like Freddy. I was recently looking at some older stuff where you are Freddy, and I was like, this man just really likes being up in your face. So, is that true? You think that's what you kind of gravitate to characters, kind of rush down like that? Or it just coincidentally just happened that way?
I feel like I can play those type of characters, but at the same time, I feel like I'm more of a well-rounded character user. I like using characters that have a little bit of everything in them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's why I gravitated towards Smoke so well, because he's not really a rush down character.
Right.
He just has godlike neutral, and I love characters with godlike neutral, and just very good neutral and very good buttons to contend, and they have to have some way to deal with zoning. If you don't have good zoning, I love my characters to have something to deal with it. Right. So when I have Smoke, of course he don't have good zoning tools, but he has great movement around those zoning tools. So he had a teleport. He had the back 2-1, which automatically teleports him to the other side of the screen, and has great range. And he also has a vortex and great mix and decent damage. So
he's good in all areas.
Yeah, basically. And that's why I like Supergirl in Injustice. I think she's probably one of my favorite characters because she has that mobility, she has the damage, and she also has pretty good zoning.
Yeah.
And she's one of those characters where she's so well rounded. She does probably well against probably most of half the cast.
Yeah, she does.
More than half the cast.
One of my most hated characters for sure. So, no, I definitely agree. And I'm glad you're bringing up Supergirl and Injustice, because that is a perfect segue to what I wanted to ask you about next, which was just, were you nervous at all about making that transition from playing MKX to playing Injustice 2? And again, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you did play the first Injustice as well. I don't think you were able to kind of get out and travel as much competitively as you did like once MK9 you started going out more than MKX obviously, and it's just been up and up from there. So this transition from MKX to Injustice, like, were you kind of nervous about it? Did you think it would be smooth?
I wasn't nervous about it. I kind of knew what to expect from Injustice 1, even though I didn't travel as much for Injustice 1. I kind of knew what to expect going in Injustice 2, because when I got my hands on the game, it was initially the same, besides different little different tweaks that they made to the game that people had gripes about in the first game. They kind of improved on those areas, but Injustice 2 was pretty much the same, aside from those little things that they had fixed, and the new mechanics they put in, like the meter burn road and the air escapes and stuff like that. So I wasn't nervous about it. I was actually excited for the game. I was excited to play it, excited to get my hands on it.
Cool. So Speaking of injustice, and soon after the game was released, we hear about this Injustice Pro Series. Everybody is hyped, like, well, they're gonna have all this tournaments, all this money is being put into it. Everybody who wanted to play Injustice was like, I definitely got to get into this. People who weren't even playing Injustice, who weren't thinking about it, they were like, oh, really? They're doing this now? I definitely got to try to get my hands on it. So I'm pretty sure that's how most people felt. You probably fell into that category, like, yeah, the grind is about to start. So about that grind, I wanted to ask, like, how have the last 5 months been for you as it relates to Injustice 2 and the Pro Series and everything? Like, did you ever have a schedule? Like, kind of, did you just wake up, make some coffee, and then, like, bam, ready to back 1, 2 breath? Like, how did you do that?
No, it's pretty much like that. An average day for me, like, it is bad because sometimes I don't even eat, man. I just get up and grind. Like, sometimes I just get up and I just play, and I forget about my meal. Sometimes I tell myself like I'm going to eat breakfast, but like my breakfast end up becoming Injustice 2 or whatever game I decide to play. I love streaming. But back to I guess the grind when Injustice 2 came out. I kind of don't like the way that the game came out, and then we only had 10 days before the first premiere event,
which was Combo Breaker.
And when you do stuff like that and you release a game and then it's automatically you say, boom, the game is out now, y'all go at it. Like, you don't really have time to enjoy the game like that. Like, we really didn't have time to break down. Everything was like, from the get-go, everything was serious mode. Everything was serious mode. We had this schedule, these tournaments coming up, so you really had to bunker down, and you couldn't, like I say, you couldn't really enjoy it. You had to get in there and you had to find the dirt. It was whoever could find the most dirt first in those 10 days. People was keeping tech.
People had early copies.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people lost to a lot of shit because they didn't have time to really explore that, with that character. So the people was getting iced by atrocities and stuff like that, and it was just week one type mix. You know what I'm saying? But we just didn't know how to deal with it yet. There's only so much you can do in 10 days, and over the course of the 4 or 5 months, these tournaments was coming weekly or every 2 weeks. Yeah. So you would lose to something, and then you only have like 5 days to figure out what you lost to, or, grind that certain matchup and try to get a hold of that person to help you grind that matchup with, which is not easy to do nowadays, because with these top players, man, like, sometimes, include myself, I don't even get to it. Like, you gotta set appointments, and sometimes even appointments ain't gonna work because some shit might come up. You never know what might happen in somebody's schedule, what might change. So it was definitely a stressful path for a lot of players.
And you went to most of these offline tournaments, because I know when the Pro Series first started and everything, like you said, it just came out like rapid fire. There was offline stuff, there was online stuff. It was just everywhere. There was stuff overseas. It was just something to do. Like you said, like weekly or every other week, and you didn't have that much time. And there are so many majors, like big majors at the beginning of that, with Combo Breaker, and then CEO, and then Evo, which obviously, that's Evolution, that's like the biggest thing, and that was the largest amount of points you could get. And of course, throughout all that time, like you said, it's tough because you need a certain amount of time to grind, figure out what's what, learn these matchups and everything. So, I feel like, that could be really overwhelming. I mean, I play, but, I don't play as much as y'all have to do. This is your life right now. This is which is cool, which is great. It's just, I can see how it could be a lot, especially with the Pro Series and everything. Well, I also wanted to ask another question, because obviously throughout all this, you have your wins, you have your losses. So I have a multiple choice question.
Mm.
It might be difficult, might be easy. So, obviously, when you lose, you could lose for a bunch of different reasons, right? There's all sorts of reasons that people lose. Could have a bad day, or just not know what you're doing, just keep pressing the wrong buttons. Who knows? Or maybe you just got outplayed. So I chose 3 options, and I want to know, out of these 3, what would you say is the hardest type of loss? Okay. First one, just straight up not knowing the matchup. Number 2, guessing wrong on a 50-50 that cost you the game, or an input error that cost you the game. I'll ask again, which one of these is the hardest type of loss? Just not knowing the matchup at all, guessing wrong on a 50-50 and you lose, or an input error that costs you the game?
I would say an input error.
Really?
It's probably like the toughest loss because you have control over that. You know what I'm saying? For the most part.
Right.
We're not gonna get into inputs.
Right. That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm pretty sure everybody out there know.
Right.
But especially for me, I'm pretty sure, and a lot of players, we try to, we play this game day in, day out, and your execution is one of the many things you pride yourself on. And when you can't show off that execution, or when something happens and it becomes completely out of your hand, that kind of, it fucks with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can grind that match up all day. You know what I'm saying? You can feel confident in it. You know what I'm saying? But you can still get that input error or something that costs you the match. And you did well and all your training paid off. But when them crucial drops, and they've happened to me before. Those crucial drops or those input errors, it just is.
That's what does hit you hard, right in the heart when that happens.
Yeah, it hits you hard, and it really pisses you off. So, that would be the choice for me.
That would be the choice. Okay, I would see, for me personally, I think it's not knowing the matchup, but because you feel so lost. It's like, and obviously, we play first to 3, and if you don't know a matchup well, you only have those few games to figure out, okay, what can I do, and figure out how to adapt. But I think that's what separates, like casual or okay players from the great players, being able to adapt on the spot like that. Like, you saw you got opened up by this move in game 1, and so it's like, okay, I see what I got opened up by. Let me adjust what I'm doing, see if this worked game 2. It's like, all right, bam,
it's possible for, a player to make those adjustments if you're that good enough of a player to see, why you lost that first game. But also, in this game, in Injustice 2, it's very counter pick heavy. Everybody knows it's very counter pick heavy. So you might be going against somebody who, let's say we're still in the IPS, and Sonic got away with a lot of surprise picks on people because they didn't believe that he would, go to these certain characters,
right, and actually
to fight
pull
them.
that out in tournament.
So a lot of players wasn't really ready, and sometimes it just be like that. You might never know what your opponent has planned for you. So that's why we try to play against people who use these characters, just in case. But just because you play against somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be ready for that matchup, because you have people who play that character, but they also have a different fighting style to them. So you might be looking for something that so-and-so did when you was training with him. He likes to do this, or, he likes to go for this setup. But this guy, he doesn't show those same tendencies. Those little setups or little tendencies, he might not have those same qualities about him. So it might end up messing with you in the end. So the only way you can be truly ready for a match, I feel like, if you're gonna put in the time to try to learn that matchup, you're gonna at least have to have, like, at the most 3 different players in your circle who use that same character. So you will have 3 different type of styles that you can train with, you know. So once you do go in a tournament, no matter who it is, you pretty much is gonna have a very good idea of what that character can do because you have 3 different people who have 3 different styles with their character. So that's why it's like if I do lose to unfamiliarity in the matchup, you know, that's kind of, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of on you. So you really can't, like in the case of me, I really don't try to dwell on it. It's just like, okay, well, damn, I wasn't prepared. So you go back to the drawing board and you prepare for that match. And you start building your circle to help you get around that match.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like as far as execution, that's always there with you.
Yeah.
That's not rocket science. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's on you. But then it also sometimes it could be on the game. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it is.
It could be different things.
It could be on the game. So I mean, you can always go back and clear up the unfamiliarity with the matchup.
Yeah, but something like a missed input, it's like I had it. Like I knew I had it, but I just dropped this, or
this came out instead of this.
I tried to do back one, but got down back one. You know, all this type of stuff, and it's like, what can you do, man? But I can understand that. Like I said, that's why I chose those 3 because I feel like all those are tough in their own different ways. So, going through all of this, now we're finally here. Like I said, Last Chance Qualifiers is tomorrow. How exactly are you feeling right now? Like, are you feeling confident? Are you feeling nervous? Do you ever really feel nervous? Like what's kind of going through your head preparing yourself for tomorrow?
Really, honestly, my whole thing tomorrow is just go out and play and give the best performance that I can give. I'm pretty much, overall, I'm happy with what I have accomplished season 1. We're coming towards the end. This is like the last big tournament for Injustice 2 for this year. So, you know, just for me to make top 16 and make it to IPS, that was a huge accomplishment for me. Given my older, I guess you could say, stats from Injustice 1. You know, I really didn't get to travel for that game a lot. You really didn't see me a lot in that game. And then here we are in Justice 2. And, you know, I ended up making top 16 in the world. You know, granted, it was a tough road.
It's a tough road, a long road, but I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to stay consistent throughout the IPS tour to get those points and squeeze my way into top 16. And I was one match away from making ELEAGUE, you know, but I lost to my teammate Theo.
Yeah, that was a tough one, 3-2.
Yeah, but I definitely gave the best performance against him than I had previously whenever we would, you know, meet in tournament. Fun fact though, like through most of these tournaments in IPS, I either ended up having to fight either Sonic or Theo. Either 1 or 2 of my losses, either, you know, when I would lose a tournament, came from them.
Wow.
And it always ended up being, I don't know why it was like that, it just happened to be like that. Like we would always meet, you know. And I think I had to fight Theo in like 3 tournaments.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you had to fight Theo quite
including
a bit.
like Evo, he took me out again. Like IPS wasn't the first time he took me out to make top 8. Like Evo, he took me out to make top 8. So, you know, like I definitely, even though I got a lot of nice places, I definitely, I was definitely a threat, and I definitely showed that, you know, I can make those top 8s because I made top 8 at Summer Jam. And I can be consistent. But I don't know. I just have to, you know, it's not going to happen for everybody off the bat to make consistent top 8s. It's a work in progress. But overall, I'm happy with how I perform.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm excited about the upcoming DLC. Superman. I played as Superman for a lot of those tournaments.
You did?
Because Supergirl really wasn't in the position that I wanted her to be in, but now she's a stronger character, and I really gravitated towards her now.
Right.
And I put most of my time into her and Brainiac because that was another character that I actually felt that I was gonna enjoy. Mm-hmm. But again, when the game came out, he wasn't really strong, but the buffs that they gave him made him a strong character. Granted, he still has tough times and he can get hard countered.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a deadly character and a fun character to play. And I feel like if I'm having fun with my character, then my true potential can really come out instead of having to force my play. So those two characters enable me to play how I want to play. Yeah, I think I kind of got away from the question, didn't I?
No, you're good. No, this is good. It's good conversation. So if you think if you had to make any predictions about tomorrow, who's gonna be the final two to make it? This is a hard question because I've been trying to figure out. Like, it's a lot of good people here.
Yeah, it's a lot of good people. I really can't answer that question.
Yeah.
But if I had somebody who I wanted to make it into that top two, it'll be my boy Rewind. Yeah. Young kid Rewind. He's been doing a hell of a job lately via online tournaments. But he's still been putting in that work, and he's a really big threat. But I think that's the only name I'm going to drop for now. I think everybody else is gonna be a hard fought battle, and only two can make it, man. So it's gonna be a lot of crushed hopes and dreams, and everybody who's here. It's kind of tough, man, and that's why I'm so blessed to be in the position I am, because if you one of those guys and you really didn't have a lot of time to prepare to even come here, because when they gave the announcement for Last Chance, it was kind of under a month.
Yeah, it's only a few weeks.
So I mean, if you don't make it, you taking a loss, and it's more so. It hurts those people who don't have a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? The people who, and I've been in that position, man. Like people forget. Like before we got in this position, I was that guy. It took me 5-6 years to get where I'm at. I was that guy who, I had to work my 9 to 5. I had to stack up my money to the side. I have to plan it out. I maybe can go to like 1 or 2 tournaments a year. You might see my face once or twice a year. And, I go to the Evos and all this, and it's money out of my pocket, and I go there and I make, 9th or top 16. But, you don't give up. If it's what you love to do and it's what you want to do, then you make time for it. And you make a way for it. So, for the people who don't make top 2, I mean, don't get discouraged. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a season 2. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we're gonna have another E-League because there's some controversy on Twitter right now, but we're not gonna get into that. No. But it's definitely a blessing for our game, and yeah, man, just for those people who are out here, just my advice is play, let it all loose out there, and that's all you can do. It's the last big tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the grind, and if there are people out there who wanted to be in a certain position for like top 16 at IPS and they didn't make it, and if there is going to be a season 2, like, get on it. Just keep on grinding, because that's the only way you're going to get there. Because who knows, there could be people who have been watching all this season and suddenly, they really want to put their grind in, and we could see, if there is a season 2, we could see a few more faces in that top 16. So you never know what may happen. Maybe Sonic Fox will suddenly stop playing and just switch over to Marvel.
I doubt that.
Yeah, that probably ain't gonna happen.
Now when you making 100K, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pretty much free. So why wouldn't you stick around?
Probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing to try to get into the competitive spirit. So I know I probably can't beat you in Injustice yet. Maybe one day. But maybe what I can beat you in is some rock, paper, scissors. So I'm going to challenge you right now.
Oh, man.
To a first to three to rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Do you accept this challenge?
I accept it.
What about a money match?
Money matching the rock, paper, scissors?
$100 right now.
No, I can't do the 100. I can't do the 100.
Why? Because it's 50-50, technically 33.
Is this a first to three?
First to three.
No, not for 100.
Really?
No.
Come on, you got 100.
No, not for no rock, paper, scissors.
Bruh, don't lie.
You had to break it down.
You got 50? That's too much?
That's too much.
Come on. It's just chance. Is that too? Is that why? Because it's all relying on chance.
Maybe if this was Vegas,
you was in that mood.
Yeah, maybe if this was Vegas, I'd do it. Right?
Okay, what about 5? We could do 5, right?
Yeah, we could do 5.
$5 money match.
We could do 5.
We shaking on it. $5 money match.
All
right. Rock paper scissors. We gonna set the rules because you know that people do the rock paper scissors, then rock paper scissors shoot. You know the difference, right?
I'm the one. I'm more so rock, paper, scissors.
Just rock, paper, bam?
Yeah.
You right up in there?
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Let me get my hands warmed up. Because I'm about to 3-0 you real quick.
Okay.
You like, yeah, whatever.
I don't need no warm up.
You know, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Mr. Rock, Paper, Scissors champion of the world. You ready?
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh,
Rock,
okay.
paper, scissors.
Got those.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. What is happening? Hold up. Bro, what is this?
Reeds.
Reeds. This you cheating.
I ain't cheating.
No, yeah, because you got these reads or whatever, this experience that you had. I don't know what it is. It's doing something.
You messing up the flow.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, that's 1.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
1-1. Rock, paper, scissors.
Ooh.
2-1. Look at me.
You got it.
Take this home. You ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors.
2-2.
Game 5? We going to game 5. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Rock, paper, scissors. Hey, we in there. 3-2. I'm the winner.
You got it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Scar, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
If you all want to follow him on Twitter, it is at KHScar12. If you would like to follow his Twitch page where he streams and has all of the livest beats, that's twitch.tv/Scar713. And if you want to learn more about Echo Fox, maybe check out some of the gear that this young man has on right now, feel free to check out echofox.gg. And thank you for checking in. Bye.